So welcome back to East Asian International Management. It's the middle of the term. Students are going to be talking about their presentations that aren't due for another, I don't know, 7 weeks or something like that. But hopefully they are developing themselves well enough to appear as specialists today. We've talked about the introduction to international cultures and the art of war and Guanxi, how important those things are. And then we got a little bit into Korean management. We went through, I've seen some students have lots of information shared, which is good. I see your presentation is here, but just note at the end, I've already started to make a couple of notes based on what I've reviewed at the end. So Pia, I believe this is part of your group. Do you understand how I've messed up your presentation? Is this okay to give some suggestions at the last slide?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. One thing that I wanted to talk about again before I start recording is you are focused on Samsung. Sorry, not Samsung. I'll fix that later. But you're probably interested in getting in touch with Samsung. And I used to work with Samsung, and I have a couple of friends. Paul Hussey, Alonzo Guzman, and Bonnie Nam are pretty important to know. So if you go through my Facebook, you'll probably be able to see their contacts. Bonnie and Alonzo, they were volunteering to be a professor with me last year to teach this class. And so they're well aware of the class. They've already gone through the whole class. But students last year, they weren't really proactive. So Bonnie and Alonzo, they are saying they're a little bit busy now, but they're still really good guys. Bonnie is a very high level guy. He was almost in charge of recruitment of what's the small company? Oh, yes, Apple before coming to Samsung. And now he was in charge of all of Samsung global sort of recruitment. And then another guy is Alonzo Guzman. I think he's from United States and from Mexico and now in Korea, connected to Samsung. You can see he's the business development manager. He's a senior executive consultant directly talking to the CEO of Samsung Electronics on a weekly basis, if not daily basis. And before he worked with ExxonMobil, IBM, but he's about your age. I would suggest trying to see what he's done so that you might be able to learn from him. At the same time as he's a really, really nice guy, he's a very smart guy, network with him. He's here in Korea. Here are his contacts in LinkedIn. You can just go to LinkedIn and it's AX Guzman. That's just his name. And another guy that I'm friends with is Paul Hussey. And he is the global talent acquisition. Basically, he's the global HR manager at Samsung Electronics. And he's posting things in LinkedIn all the time, talking about how Samsung Electronics puts forward a vision to copy, etc. More stuff about what Samsung is doing online. He's promoting not just his job, but other things that will promote him at the same time. So if any of you are in LinkedIn, it should be very easy just to see his public posts and get in touch with him. His full posts are here. I can introduce you if you want. I have talked to them about this, but because students in the past, they were kind of quiet last year, these guys are not really super excited because they found it a little bit boring in class, even though we started debates and arguing and having a lot of thought. And Alonzo, oh my God, Alonzo, he helped mentor a group of students, and I hope you're listening carefully, but when he was mentoring them, he went through their files very well. He went through their the folder activities. He went through the PPT that they had, their Scopus references, and their questions that the students made, planning to ask him. They asked him if they could ask questions, and they gave him a draft of the questions a week in advance. He went through all of the questions within an hour and sent them back a reply answering all of the questions. And then a week afterwards, the students actually got a meeting to meet with him and talk with him. And they just started from the beginning. Question number one, here's this. And so he answered it. Question number two is this. And he answered it. And then he said, this is quite refreshing. Have you seen? I already gave you these answers in your email. And the students didn't really understand. And they said, question number three. And so I had to say, okay, students, come on, pay attention. He's already answered this stuff. And I knew this stuff too. And then he went through it, and the students were kind of in shock, which is okay. If you're young students, you're not prepared. He was very, very kind and very supportive. He didn't say, you idiots, come on, pay attention. He was supportive. And after the students sort of calmed down a little bit from the embarrassment, then he said, your work is so good that it's replicating something that I dealt with 2 years ago, working with other groups of students. And at that time, we helped that group. And we could do the same thing now if you continue with the suggestions I gave. And so the students were just, and so I said, okay, thank you. What exactly do you mean by that? And he said, we actually donated 500 high-tech devices to the student before, and we could do the same thing for you. And I was like in shock. That means $1 million they could give for computers or cell phones, things like that, to the student group. It's a grant. And then I said, okay, students, do you have anything else to say? And they said, okay, question number 4. I was like, whoa, aren't you supposed to at least say thank you? Anyway, that group of students, they didn't follow up with it. And so Samsung is still, they made that offer. And if any of you are interested in networking with companies, these guys are pretty important guys. It's $1 million value. And I would suggest be aware of that. I just wanted to mention that before we start. Since it's a small group, I want you guys to talk about almost anything. So let's go back to the group. We are in the midterm presentations time. I just wanted to make sure you guys can see my screen. Next week, there's no class. It's just for you guys to do surveys for students to develop your expertise. And then after you have specializations and you're comfortable, then you can talk to some executives. And again, as I've seen your information here, I've already made some comments here. Maybe we can talk about that after your presentation. The other group, you have a link, but you need to make sure that it's open to share with other people. Your link doesn't give me access yet, so please fix that, and then we can go on. Is anybody ready to start presenting?
Yes, our group could start presenting.
Okay, go at it. We're ready to listen to you guys.
So I will start for our group. So we will be talking about managing cultural differences at Samsung. If any of you want, you can reach us out on our LinkedIns or Gmails that are linked on the first slide. And then we have agenda. So we will be talking about topic introduction, methodology, different findings, and survey. Next slide and next slide. So introduction, I think that it is really important to know why are we talking about this topic, because of the new trends of home office and virtual teams that came with mainly with COVID-19. We think that it is really important to know how it will develop and how, like, what to actually do at a time when it will develop too much. So the topic, as I said already, is how employers and HR managers can manage and overcome cultural differences at Samsung. And we are focusing on the most occurring cultural differences that could cause any problems. And we are also focusing on theoretical models and strategies that could be used to actually manage the company's diversity. And we also have a survey to find out more about the personal experiences of people working in these diversified teams. And then we would also like to compare our findings with the outcomes of different research papers.
And then we have the methodology part. So to find out more information about our topic, we used the database called Scopus. I think you guys have heard about it. So we conducted our literature research and high-tech quality research database. And so the Scopus is, every journal in the Scopus database is pre-reviewed before being published to ensure high quality of the research. So how does this help to our project? So we have many findings from 10 high quality Scopus articles that we are happily willing to share with you if you are willing to be surveyed by us. And as you can see in the next slide, we have this common cultural, we have these findings about the common cultural difference. So as you can see, these are some articles and research. So the first one, building solidarity through difference, a practice model for critical multicultural organizing. So, and then cross-cultural diversity management in service firms and cultural diversity in large enterprises, a qualitative analysis from the Alphen Ryan Wally. So these are the findings, and these findings includes common differences, opinion, background, identity, fear the difference will distract the group from its common purpose. And the other ones also include negative interaction effects, intensity with the introduction of various nationalities and cultures, and communication difficulties. And the last one also includes visible characteristics, for example, race, ethnic heritage, education level, and status, and invisible characters like religion, sexuality, values, attitudes, and experience principles.
So after we found out about common cultural differences, we started to focus more on Samsung, and we found several papers. The first thing that we found was a comparison of Samsung to Western companies, and they said that there are very different social cultures, especially the values, the language, the social organization, and the hierarchy are very different. And we also found one very interesting story where Volvo Construction actually acquisitioned some of Samsung's high-heavy industry divisions. And they talked to the employees in Korea. And one thing that was very positive for the Korean employees was the new cultural differences, that there was less overtime work, and as they called it, less meaningless paperwork. And they also said that the internal communication became much more informal and therefore easier. So this was something that they really valued. On the other hand, there were also a lot of problems because I think by the time it was still the Swedish Volvo, they had a lot of new policies that were perceived as a serious threat to the Samsung employees, because they felt like their prior work experience under different policies became suddenly meaningless. And they also complained that there was no indoor house training program, as we are learned in this course as well. In Korea, a lot of people basically come from prestigious schools and get trained in the company, and this practice kind of fell away and they felt deployed from it. So what Volvo saw as a rational decision-making was seen as an oppressive excuse to exploit them. Next slide, please. Okay, so we found one more article that said that Samsung is indeed very happy to get rid of hierarchies. So, for example, promotion regardless of seniority. But this article also basically found out the same thing as the last one, that obstacles of cross-cultural communication arise when the employees feel that they are not appreciated. For example, older workers expected new employees to stay until the job is finished, and some people from cultural different backgrounds, well, they only worked until the working hour was finished, and the Korean workers found this cultural difference very disrespectful. So down here we concluded some of these things again to see, and then we're at the next slide, please. So what did we find out are ways to manage cultural differences? First of all, they should identify the nature and application of natural cultural differences within the team. And they should also establish a framework to understand and be aware of the cultural differences. One suggestion was to develop a high-performing team, which basically takes account of these differences and works accordingly with them. Managers should also learn to prioritize one value over another. It's called value trumping. And with this, they could also create a multicultural management that understands the cultures to help them understand each other better. So they basically said that if you have someone from the same culture in the management team, they would understand if someone manages or if some managed practices are disrespectful to the workers. Hofstede's cultural dimensions were also often mentioned. So, for example, Samsung would prefer a lower power distance, and I think a higher collectivism would help. And the leadership style, femininity versus masculinity, should be, adapted accordingly to the situation. Okay, next slide. Okay, last but not least. Oh, it's also ways to manage cultural differences. Okay, so we also thought a shared company culture could help. So symbols, values, assumptions. This could be established through common workshops. So even though there might be communication difficulties, they can find different, basically other different ways to connect through their same experience or fun things they basically do together. So this could really help. And one last thing was that the HR should overlook the entire cultural terrain. So from the very beginning, they should start to get involved, and this would increase the likelihood of successful integration of people. Okay, now to the last slide. The last thing we focused on was profiting from cultural differences. So why is this so important, and why should you focus on it? We found out that we found out how high the importance and the effects of diversity of an organization and the performance is. We also found out that strategies can gain creative solution from several dissimilar markets. And that basically means if you have a lot of people from different cultures in your team, you can get a deeper insight, a deeper in-depth knowledge of consumer habits. So this could really help your company. And the study also showed that participant leadership, entrepreneurial learning, and openness were positively moderated by cultural differences. Okay, so now that I don't no longer fall over my words, Benho takes over.
So talking about the survey, the subject of the survey are Samsung employees and executives from diverse department in Korean branch. And the way we contact is through LinkedIn and social media platform, or searching alumni working in Samsung, or otherwise emailing human resources managers and other management departments in Samsung. What are we trying to achieve with the survey is, the first, we are going to try to find the way that Samsung employees think about the cultural diversity, about what they think about the cultural diversity and productivity and about hostility about cultural diversity. How do they manage cultural differences, about the way that they solve cultural diversity? Some improvement that the employees, the Samsung should be made in the company. And finally, how Samsung benefit from cultural diversity. These are what we are going to try to find and achieve with this survey. And ultimately, we want to make connection with the graduate to have a deeper expertise into the related fields and use these knowledge to work for companies like Samsung. Here are the references and reference here. And thank you for listening to our presentation, and have a nice day.
Yay! Very good job. And now I will be polite and be quiet.
Any questions or comments? Maybe I'll ask someone directly, as this always works better. And maybe look back. How did you understand anything from the presentation, or do you have questions? Something that was unclear?
Yes, I have actually one question. I want to know that what is your main target group for survey questions?
Yeah, we mentioned it here. Our main target group is basically the employees and executives of Samsung. So we will search for alumni on LinkedIn, but we will also contact the HR managers directly to then hopefully help them or let them help us send it out to more employees. So that's our target group. Maybe Jungho, do you have any comment?
Well, I like to say your literature review on each, how would I say, like keyword that you're trying to focus on. You had a lot of contents. I think that was really impressive, and you searched about like a lot of like specialized keywords for explaining some theories or your topic. I think that I was just impressed about it.
Okay, so I think those are the only 2 students that are not in our group. So
can you explain what you meant by the keywords? Which keywords did you see?
Like if you see the literature review part, like common cultural differences on this topic, on this keyword, they search about these articles on, and also other slide. Can you go to like cultural differences and Samsung? They talked about like other articles, and they pointed out some specific positiveness, positive effect or problems. I think it was you can explain very well about their topic.
Okay, my comment is related to the slide you're showing right now. You have some nice logos there. I was going to ask, you have shown you've got a lot of research. You've shown you have a lot of articles there. In the beginning of your presentation, it was good. You were quick. You were right to the point. You weren't wasting time for any of the viewers. That's good. But you were just listing articles. And it wasn't clear right in the beginning why. Why are we listing these? What's the value? What are you teaching the world? This slide that you have here, I guess we understand from the happy face, that's the good things. It's less hierarchies, less paperwork, promotion regardless of seniority, easier to communicate, you were saying, less work time, other things like that. And I guess the other part is also the problems. So with these things alone, is this the main findings that you're teaching the world? In your very first slide, or at the very beginning, since we are in the future, we're in technology, 2021, 2022, people don't usually, have to drive in a car an hour to go meet somebody to get information anymore, which was the situation when I was maybe your age, when I was younger, without the internet and email and things like that. Now people have access to information and videos all the time, so they want to know what they want immediately. They don't really want to have to search through a lot of details. In my opinion, my humble opinion, I would suggest asking the class, first of all, everybody in your group and your listeners, your audience, how can this improve? How can, number one, can you connect better with anybody in 2022? Next,
First slide.
Anywhere possible. I'm not going to limit myself. Why limit yourself? In the first slide, second slide, all slides, or as soon as you turn on the video recording, as soon as you put your PPT out into the internet, or you put your paper into the internet, or a conference, or a publication, I can help you do that. What is going to attract somebody to pick it up? Knowing that everybody has millions of things they could pick up and check. And next, most importantly, your target, Samsung executives, why would they want to pick it up? Knowing that I have great, very kind friends that have worked a lot helping me and helping other students before, but because I'll just say, other people bored them, and sometimes they were asking questions for, what does Samsung do? A high-level executive is chosen to work with a high-level company because they're high-level. And you should always, like the art of war and Guanxi, research the other person very well first, know everything about them first. So before you just go in and start contacting people in LinkedIn, check one person and maybe check their LinkedIn profile to learn as much about them as possible. Then maybe do some extra research to find out what can you do to help them do their job, and go from there. So, for example, in the past, one of those executives I just told you about, Bonnie Nam, he's a very high-level executive. He has education from Harvard. And so, as I was talking to you guys before, students that find a lot of the Harvard journals, Harvard Business Review, and just share that information with him, he would be impressed. Number one, because it's connected to his education and he can promote that to the world, promote it to his team. Number two, it's supposed to be very high level, and he can use that to teach other people around him and learn and stay in touch with that. Regardless of what you're trying to study, just that connection to him through something indirect, like where he went to university many years ago, might interest him in working with you. Otherwise, why would any of these people interest you? Why would any of these people want to answer a text message or an email or do an online survey? Some of these people in the past, they have come in and sat through many hours of classes in the past. So they are willing to do that if you show you're at that eager level. How can you attract people? Any ideas? UNO, what about you?
Sorry.
Exactly. What about Yasser? What about you? What do you suggest? These type of things, not paying attention to questions, taking a long time to answer in the age of the internet where everything's fast. Do you think that would impress an executive of Samsung? They may say, I have internet difficulties, sorry, I can't talk. Click, hang up on you, right? Even though they have perfect internet.
Well, I would say that it will be really specific to each of them. So it is better to do our research first and find out what they like and maybe what they are looking for. Because like if they are in high positions, there will be probably something on the internet about them. Like what do they like, which if we know something that maybe other people do not know about them, or if we will be interested in something like super small thing, because we all have hobbies. And if we just like bring it up a little bit, and they will know that we are basically like in the same group as them in something, they might be more likely to help out.
Good answer. You have something that it might be valuable. Great. Let's talk a little bit more about not those top executives. Let's get back down to maybe more reality. I can help introduce you to like the head of HR at Samsung, head of global HR, and the guys that worked with Apple before coming here. And they can tell you a lot of like inside information, but let's talk about just reality. You guys are students. How can you attract other students to work with you and get value from them at the same time as they get value from you? The very first thing you should be thinking about is how you give value to the other person. If you're just asking, everybody's going to say, oh, internet difficulty, and hang up on you. So how can you attract other students? How can you attract your alumni? What can you do with your PPT or your video? Any ideas from everybody?
Okay, and I think in the last class you said to make it more flashy, almost like a thumbnail on YouTube, to basically attract people to click on it.
Okay, you could make a thumbnail. Any ideas? Yes, everybody should be thinking of that. What is the thumbnail for your slide, your very first slide? What is the thumbnail for the YouTube video? What could those be? How could you get other students interested?
Well, by searching for what is popular. I mean, I guess a lot of people would click on the Squid Games pictures because it's funny and they know what it is and they are probably interested in it.
Okay,
So,
you can see my screen right now.
yes.
Does it look like it was created for you? Does this slide not look like it was created for you? However, if you look closely, pay attention to the details, you know, the high-level people in any company at any level, whether they're in a company or not, they will respect you if you pay attention to the details. And in the top right corner, this says it's a different class. This is human resource management, which means it's from some other student. Have you contacted that student that is doing the same type of research that you would value from? And I'm a really old guy. Do you think Samsung has not been studied before? Thousands of times? Have you checked some of those files or thought about checking those files? Everybody has been going through universities the same way for hundreds of years. But some teachers say, no, don't look at the other files, that's cheating. Really? Is it cheating? Isn't that just a part of reality? Do you guys think it's cheating to talk to a student from last year that took the course?
I would just say that it is better preparation for the class because I'm able to know like what they did and what worked and what I'm able to use.
Right. Any executive, any manager, director, vice president, president of any company, do you think that they are being hired because they're going to start everything from new, pretending they don't know anything about the company? Of course not. They have to research, not just research, but grow from the old stuff. And so this slide that was created just a few hours ago was created by Ozdebek, another student, and a couple of students in my human resource management class. They're around you in the dormitories right now. So they are looking to do the same types of things that you guys are looking at. Why don't you get together and find out how you can contact Samsung together? What's the most valuable point or most attractive point in your data or your research that would attract them? What's the most valuable information the other groups have? And then share information. Maybe you don't need to talk about your research project at all if the other research group has more interesting stuff. But if you follow with them you can still get the interview. Versus if they contact somebody and say something stupid, and then you contact them with something valuable because somebody else already just contacted them from the same university doing the same type of thing, the person's probably automatically not going to even answer. So work together. Isn't, globalization one of the things that we should be looking at? So this is just one. And there's several things, like the whole this Squid Games. I think these are interesting things to think about. Anybody else have any other comments? Not just for what I was talking about, the hooks. How can you attract people? But are you guys volunteering? You're UNO. You look like a genius, super rich kid, so you're just taking this for entertainment. You don't care if you get a 100% grade or a 0% grade, right? You don't care about getting a grade for the class?
I do care.
Then why aren't you asking one of your classmates to give you a grade? And more specifically, grades are not important. More specifically, ask, how can you improve for the other students' values? UNO, are programmed like computer code with the Korean programming, the Korean values, the Korean thought. If you want to do work in China or East Asia, other countries, you have to get out of your programming. So whatever you know, even if you know a lot, you have a bad habit of it being yours. You need to learn what is the value and what is appreciated by somebody else and try practicing doing that other thing. And so ask your other classmates, and know whatever they say, even if you think that's stupid, say thank you and think about it for a while. Why? Why should you say thank you even if the other person kind of insults you? Because you need to grow your network. If the other person knows about that other country, they might be able to introduce you to people. So get me to be quiet and learn ways to adapt.
Can anybody from the other team could something like grade our presentation today?
I think we need to call someone out. Oh,
Well,
not.
yeah, I would like to rate your presentation. If I say 10 out of 10,
that means you've never seen real perfection. Do you think these people are gods?
but I couldn't find out any problems that doesn't match with their topic. So that's why I couldn't give them below 10.
Did you get super horny and excited just listening to them? And with this presentation, is it the best presentation you've ever seen? If not, what would make you more excited? Forgive that very terrible example, but seriously, there's always a better way. Maybe you're young and I'm old. I have way too many experiences. And so I've seen with these other experiences, different thoughts, different ways of doing things. But you should always realize there are different ways of doing things. What could be a different way? What might be a better way? Think of it as a game, a crossword puzzle. No matter what you see, how could you do it better? Yes, Pia.
From my experience, I mean, we didn't do that now, but it would probably be a good idea to be more interactive, to engage the listener so that he doesn't fall asleep and that he understands everything. So maybe more like a game.
Okay. With education and online interactions, a lot of research says gamification is the key. If you can make things into a game, it's supposed to be much, much better. Great, that's one idea. I don't know how to make this into a game, but yeah. Anything else? Ulrich, what do you think? Were these people absolute gods? Did they just create a whole new, brand new paradise universe? Or is there something creative you could think of that might help?
I think they have a lot of interesting research papers which can help the company to improve the satisfaction of workers or employers.
Okay, so you're just saying good job. You're not really saying something. Let's say if I was a top executive of your dream company, what I heard you just say right now is the textbook canned response. You say, good job. You repeat a little bit about what they said and say, that was great. But there is no real thought involved. So be creative. Talk about how they could do something new. What is something different they could do? I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to get all of you to think at a different level. It's good to always start and say, thank you. That was amazing. That was perfect. All that baloney. But then show the other person you are really creative and thoughtful and talk about something that could be different or could be better. I'll tell you right now, if you just walk up to Alonso or any of these Samsung executives that I want to introduce to you, and you just say, good job, they're not going to be interested in talking to you. You have to pick it apart. You have to give some new view. Talk about how something could be better, because everything could always be better. God knows, look at me. I learn from screwing up. I learn from making mistakes. So admit what is a mistake you might have made and what could be better. Jung Moon, you have a hand up?
Yeah, I think we can talk about how to make it creative after the next group.
Good.
Their topic.
Enough of this chit chat. I want to do mine. Good. 4 points for you.
So how would you rate the presentation, Professor?
I will give that to you after the class. You should be getting grades from your students, and as you saw, I will write that down in your PPT.
Can you see our screen?
Yes, I can. Understanding influence of AI.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our group would like to present our topic, which is understanding the influence of AI in tourism industry. But we have chosen second topic, which is the use of AI in hotel industry in South Korea. We will tell you the reasons for choosing the second topic in a few moments. And this is our members, Lungbek Manovo and Jung Moon. This is our LinkedIn profile if you would like to contact us after the presentation. We'll talk about the importance of topic, research methodology, literature review, and survey plan, and finishing with the references. Importance of topic. After the COVID-19, the demand for the tourism will be very high. And Refine.com in 2019 stated that artificial intelligence will be so crucial that will be applied to any sector of the industries. And artificial intelligence will be utilized into Google Maps, language translators, audio tours, use of shopping, and etc. will be everywhere. So we need to know the changes driven by the artificial intelligence. And also tourism industry is a service that delivers truthful value to the customers. So it is important to not forget the human touch with AI technology. So that's why we have chosen on this topic, thinking about this importance. And the next presenter will talk about the research methodology.
Hello, everyone. Now I will continue with our research methodology. In the first step, we want to focus on, we want to analyze and understand the information which is available on the internet. And after that, we will focus on previous research papers, which is more reliable. And especially we want to focus on Scopus articles, which is one of the most reliable sources in the world, and then case studies which can help us visualize the impact of AI in tourism industry. And after that, we want to have a survey. The survey is about customers' attitude about using AI technology in the tourism industry. Especially user acceptance on using AI technology in hotel industry in South Korea. And after survey finished, we want to show our results in week 9, which will be driven by statistical analysis.
The literature review, we can talk about like reasons for changing or getting more deep about our topic. Okay. Importance of internet environment. We have learned that the faster internet you have, you're more likely to collect the database, big data in a faster environment. And we learned that the tourist service value can be whether hedonic or utilitarian, which is like whether the tourist is looking for fun value or if the tourist is looking for functional value, functional service. There are two different types of service value. And we have learned that in Saudi Arabia, they're looking for opportunity for developing AI tourism. However, like from this literature review, we start to think like, should we focus on Saudi Arabia, which is like a country with a fast internet? From that point, we started to think, because getting information from the Saudi Arabia can be very hard. So we decided to focus on South Korea, which has high developed internet connections. And also we are also focusing on tourism industries a lot. And also they will focus on a lot after the COVID-19. And because we also learned that depends on the tourism industry, depends on the services, like if it is service for reserving flight, it will be more functional, which means that people might like to accept using artificial intelligence, while if people are looking for fun, for example, if the tourist is planning the tourist area, which is more a fun value, they are more likely reach to human instead of artificial intelligence. So we have learned that it is important to choose a specific industries within the tourism industry. So we decided to choose hotel industries in South Korea. That's why we decided to get more deep insight about our topic. And from this part, my partner will continue.
And also we have our next article is AI chatbot for tourism recommendations. Oh no, a model for the development of innovative tourism products from service to transformation, which is published in 2021 in Sustainability Switzerland, which is also its Scopus article. This study sought to develop a conceptual model of innovative tourism product development. And our next article is, can you move to the next slide, please? Is application of an artificial neural network optimization model in e-commerce platform based on tourism management, which is also published in 2021, almost new, and in Eurozip Journal on Wireless Communications and Networking. And this paper shows that, this study shows that in e-commerce and information technology in enhancing the competitiveness of the tourism industry and adapting to global economic integration. And our next article is innovativeness of tourism enterprise, example of Poland, which is also published in 2021, Sustainability Magazine, Switzerland. This research paper is about innovativeness of the tourism sector in cross-industry terms, identify categories of innovations implemented by tourism enterprises with division by industry branches. And our next article is Uncovering Innovativeness in Spanish Tourism Firms, the Role of Transformational Leadership, OCB Firm Size and Age, which is all published in 2021, Sustainability Magazine, Switzerland. And this study is about transformational leadership, organizational citizenship behavior, and firm innovativeness, firm size, firm age, and tourism firms. And we have also innovation and development of rural leisure tourism industry using mobile cloud IoT computing article, which is also published in 2021, Wireless Communications and Mobile Computing Magazine. And this research is about, with the booming of IoT applications in rural leisure tourism, and integrated tourism guidance will provide tourists with better information and thus make rapid improvement of geographical concentration index.
Okay, now we move on to the survey plan. We decided to target for our survey plan as a potential customer for hotel in South Korea. We will try to reach through the LinkedIn, Facebook, Kakao, and etc., which is a social network. And the purpose for doing this survey is to better understand user acceptance on artificial intelligence and gain insight into how hotel industry should adopt AI in their service in order to provide better customer service in the hotel industry in South Korea. The format of the survey will be in the Google document. And we expect the Marriott Hotel will be highly interested in our topic because they are the hotel which is trying to utilize AI robots highly for their business management. And if they understand and if they can know more about user acceptance on AI robots, they might develop their technology in a proper way.
One of our survey questions is about AI robots. We want to scale out consumer experience AI robots service during during consumer staying in hotel, and generalizing the upcoming years and satisfaction levels of consumers, and also comfortability of AI robots for consumers, and are consumers ready to pay extra money for AI robots service, and also will AI robots service replace the humans? And our next survey plan questions about AI chatbots. We also want to scale consumers' experience, and does AI chatbot service can save their time and money, and can AI chatbot can provide the best consumer experience, and also consumers are ready to pay extra money for AI chatbot service, and also will AI chatbots replace humans in the future in hotel tourism industry? This is our reference, and thank you for your attention.
Good job, great job. I will be quiet now to be even a better job.
So let's start with the student. Any comments, or did you understand well about?
Well, that was a good presentation. Thank you for your work. I just have a question about the survey questions and the target of your survey. You said earlier, your target, the company that you relate is Marriott Hotels.
Yes, it is.
I don't know much about that brand. Is that a Korean, or like, is it international?
I believe that it's an international hotel company, but Marriott Hotel, they started to use AI robots for their hotel management, especially in Seoul. They're also doing a lot of advertisement in order to promote their services. So if we do this survey related to user acceptance on artificial intelligence, they might be interested in. And also, we're thinking about reaching them and asking what were the experience of AI robots for the customers. I'm not sure if they will provide it because of the privacy issues, but I think that can be the first step that we can reach them.
And also the target potential customer for hotel in South Korea, you said. I just want to know if that's like, are you targeting the potential customers of Marriott Hotel or other hotels in South Korea?
Well, Marriott Hotel is not main focus, but we expect the potential customers to anyone. Well, I think at least that have to be a person who can afford to pay the hotel bills. We don't want to narrow down the potential customers too narrow, but however, I think there should be a certain points that we should focus on our potential customers.
Okay, thank you.
How do you know that whether how do you find the potential customer and what to know whether the person is a potential customer for the Marriott Hotel or not?
Well, I believe that it doesn't have to be a customer for the Marriott Hotel, because we are doing the we're trying to find the relationship with the user acceptance with artificial intelligence. So it can apply to any hotels which might consider about using artificial intelligence for their services. Does that answer your question? And yeah, Pia, please.
Also really liked your presentation. It seems like you did a lot of research. You said that you wanted to do it statistically, so you have no open-ended question, if I understand that right. I think that's quite good for user acceptance. I did also like your presentation. At some point, it did get a bit confusing when Lookback started to list the article names again, because that kind of broke the flow of understanding your findings. But since we're all here to learn, that was just a small thing that came to my mind. So very good.
It was the same thing. First group today and the second group today had that issue. It's amazing that you did research online. It's amazing that you know Scopus. It's amazing that you know Scopus is very valuable information. But does the world care? Probably not. Do they know what Scopus is? 98% of the world, I would definitely bet $100. No, nobody else knows what Scopus is, except real crazy geeks. So do your research, absolutely. You must research your target customer as much as possible, especially if they're in a different culture like China or Japan or other countries. After you research that other company very well, then you definitely go through and research online expert literature like Scopus, and just people in LinkedIn or non-reliable, less reliable sources like BBC or CNN, whatever, Facebook. But when then you go to contact or communicate with other people, like many of you have been, you're showing research. Who cares about that? Only you. You did it, so you're showing it, but you're forgetting the most important thing is that culture you're working with. Do those other people understand it, and do they care about it? So don't write what you know. Write what the other person wants to know. And so you're listing a lot of Scopus journal titles and years and authors and findings, but both of the groups, you've listed several of those things, and most of you would put most of the world asleep. Why would they care? Some of you were really good, and you turned those findings into a story, which is really good. And you said, why should we care? We said, this actually would help the company by teaching them something like this and showing. You were kind of politely saying, you're going to screw up this way, but here's a better way, which is really good. Don't say any company is bad. You could go to jail for that in East Asia, but offer some solutions automatically, yes. And since most of the world, like with your group, you're focused on Marriott and AI. And you have obviously found from your communications that Marriott in Korea is interested in AI. Well, I'm an old man, I'm kind of connected. Marriott internationally, the group is focused on AI everywhere. They're almost more into AI than any other hotel group. There are many, many stories about that, many case studies talking about that. So get that information. Number one, again, research your target person, like the Marriott Hotel in Korea, research the world's best minds and knowledge, case studies that are very expensive. And then before you talk to them, before you go survey them, think, what do they want to hear? What's going to be shocking? Like that crazy idea of the Squid Games and AI. Maybe it's not teaching them something, but it's going to attract their attention so that they might be interested in talking to you. And then maybe you can talk to the Marriott about, have you been thinking of using the Squid Games to promote yourself? Probably not. But you could be the agent and get $1 million for introducing that concept. Who knows? But think, what do they want? And give them something they want. And then after you have attracted them, like I said in the previous group, you found an executive, even though it's indirect, many years ago, he had an educational experience with Harvard. You found the valuable Harvard stories. Maybe it's not even connected to your work, but it's connected to attract that person to want to talk to you more. And then you just use that to tell him, I can find more information. What are you specifically interested in? He's going to want to continue talking to you just about that. So forget what's in your mind compared to what your target really wants first. And then after they're interested, after they're talking, since most people like to talk and hear themselves, they're going to be happy. And then you ask the survey, then you ask the questions, but don't bore them. And your group, everybody in this class, I'm going to be arguing and fighting with the university, trying to give everybody fully top marks. But you had many questions that are just yes, no. The idea of, have you experienced blah, blah, blah? That's a yes, no answer. Do you think blah, blah, blah? That's a yes, no answer. Come on. Seriously, it would be better, at least if you want to ask that question, to say, rate your experience from 1 being very bad experience or very low experience to 2 being a little bit of experience, 3 being no experience, neutral, you don't really mind, 4 meaning you have some experience, 5 meaning you have crazy lots of experience, something like that. And then maybe spice it up even more and say, you know, have you had experience with AI? Have you ever been shot at in an online real game? Something like that. Have you participated in some squid freaky experience? So the games are interesting to the participant. They want to check the next question. They don't want to run away.
I think that was a good point, but I think we forgot to mention about it because the first question is a yes or no answers, but the other questions, the respondent could scale up from the 1 to 5.
Good. Okay, you're starting to do that. Question number 1 also, it could be a rank your experience. 1 being no experience, 5 meaning lots of experience. And if you twist it a little bit, almost all survey questions, I don't know, has anybody ever really liked doing survey questions or test questions? I don't think most people like it. But if you, what's the polite way to say screw with it, and put in that squid game with it. Have you ever, had some squid shooting at you, trying to kill you, being number 5? That should impress most people in the world, so they want to go to question 2, 3, 4. Right now it's made for you, but it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be made for somebody else if you want to be successful. Don't work hard. Stop working hard. Start working wisely. Work for the other person. And again, thank you for volunteering. I can go on and talk about class if you're not interested in points and grades.
Well, we are also interested in grades, so we would like to hear some ratings from the classmates. Let's hear from, what about Fang Rin? What do you think about our presentation? Can you please give us some comments or ratings as well, if you would like?
it's a little bit hard for me to figure out, are you going to interview the managers or just consumers, the tourism consumers, and you are not clear about the topic, which one is domain in the tourism or in the hotel industry. They're gonna interview the managers or executive very soon, so make sure you make the topic very clear, and you should show them why you are interested, even in the hotel, why you want to help them, and what you give the benefits to them when you interview them. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I think our like plan for now is not searching and not doing the survey to the manager, but we are planning to do a survey to the potential customers, which is like general people around us. But however, we also would like to hear responses from the users of the Marriott Hotel. Like I want to hear like people who used Marriott Hotel services and how was their experiences by connecting to the managers. I'm not sure if they will provide the results because of the privacy issues, but I think if they ask about this, they might like to talk about the result, because in that way they can promote their services, which is can be very good, I guess. And for our topic, yeah, in the first week and second week, we have chosen top.
Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah, we have chosen topic as understanding the influence of AI in tourism industries. But as we searched more about the literature review, we decided it is more important to choose a country and industry as well. So I'm not sure if it is fine to do that, but we decided second topic, which is will be more main topic, will be the use of AI in hotel industry in South Korea.
Yes, so as you can see, I am writing down notes. You were just saying that you chose the hotel industry in Korea. Great, it's very good. All of you should try to be as specific as possible. You were also saying that you didn't know if you should be contacting the executives or just potential customers. Absolutely. It's very rare that you have, where is it here? The chance, the opportunity to take a lot of valuable articles, $50, $50, $50, $50, and thousands of dollars here to executives. Executives must want to know what the brains of the world are saying about their job. And if all of these are usually very expensive, just giving that access to them should give them a reason to want to talk to you. And if you want to work in this area, how else are you going to get this opportunity? Use this opportunity. Think of the big picture. Use your research to develop your Guanxi, to develop your network, to get inside the company, to know what they're doing, and hopefully become friends. If at the beginning, these executives are not going to know what Scopus is. So you need to go in and attract their attention, maybe with a squid game, maybe with something else. Hopefully you're going to teach them something shocking, controversial to get their attention, and then show them you have this very, very rare, very expensive, valuable information from this genius, this genius, this genius, this genius, which is generally what Scopus is. And then let that sink in. You need a hook to get a job. You need a hook to be successful. You need a hook to expand your network easily. This project is a hook. This research is a hook. By simply taking all of this stuff alone, that's one thing. And then if you customize it, that's even better. Then you ask them, what would they like, since you're going to continue anyway, and they will tell you more detailed stuff. If they do tell you they want more stuff, that is an internship. You have started a job. And then if you just make it in a professional format and give it to them, that should be valuable. If you work with the grant, that's very, very valuable. If you can publish it, that's extra valuable. So absolutely, those type of things should help. Where was your slide? I have started to go through. Class is finished, by the way. I'm just babbling away about this stuff. Make sure you also, with our group, share your Google folder information. The first group did. The second group, we didn't have the proper link to access it. You had a nice start. You talked about, what you're going to talk about and things. Yes. But again, that's blah, blah, blah. That's what people have been doing for the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years. Why? Why are you doing it? Try to find something to hook the other people. Get into those hotels now. You could get a job now. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to get that job. Other very, very small things. For example, with the referencing, you referenced Khan, blah, 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 Bibi, and many other people were doing some sort of research. The correct way to do it is to say Khan al, that's Latin for saying and others, and then the year. This is what you do usually in the inside a regular presentation. If you're trying to promote specific people, that's good. But again, make the chart for other people, not for you. What do other people want in the chart? And for you to become successful, you want a lot of other researchers to love your chart, thinking there's no wasted space. They can copy it and put it in their paper, which would also promote you as well. And I've already explained how Marriott is already very active in AI internationally. Definitely talk about this. Some of our classmates and alumni are with the hotels. You can definitely talk with them. But yeah, good luck. All of you guys are doing very well. Thank you.